Coming up, this luxurious log cabin is hiding a family secret, but could its antique furnishings be worth a fortune?
I would estimate the whole thing at...
Our expert puts a price on the treasure and a forgotten box.
I picked up a letter and I knew that they had eloped.
Reveals this Alabama home's scandalous past. Then, was it a crime scene?
The robbers used to hide in the trees.
Find out what went on in this Idaho backyard.
Next on If Walls Could Talk.
They thought they knew everything about their grandfather until they moved into his old home. That's when they found out who built it and how Grandpa made his money. Childhood memories come flooding back for Denise Hastings and her husband Paul every time they set foot inside their hand-hewn log cabin in the Pacific Northwest. That's because Denise's grandfather built it near a creek in 1935. He named it Littlebrook Farm.
We used to come out on Sundays and see my grandpa and have dinner or a picnic.
In the 1960s, when her grandfather moved out, she begged her parents to take it over. Someone else bought it, but Denise never gave up.
I wrote the new owners a letter and said, if you ever think of selling this house, please think of me.
That letter sure paid off, because 30 years later, Littlebrook Farm was back in the family. Unfortunately, it was a little worse for the wear.
It did need lots and lots of work.
Outside, the 4,000 square foot log cabin looked just like it always did, but the real shocker was waiting inside.
It still felt like I was walking back into my grandpa's home from when I was a young child. That was very wonderful.
We just kept discovering these really fun mementos.
The mementos were left by Denise's grandfather, John T. Little. He built the place by hand, but John Little had a little help. Denise learned that a craftsman named Oliver LaJoy was the master behind the cabin's construction. He handcrafted the floors, doors, and rustic furniture that Denise remembered as a child. But imagine her shock when she found it was all still there.
I had no idea that I was going to be walking into the same setup, the same furnishings. I was just flabbergasted, just so shocked.
In the dining room, Oliver designed and crafted the buffet, table, and desk, including the cast iron work. Denise was even happier to see her grandfather's unique fly fishing cabinet.
I just love this. This is just so intricate with all the little drawers and cabinets. It certainly is one of a kind.
So was Oliver LaJoy a famous craftsman? Turns out he was an unemployed carpenter when the Littles met him.
He lived here with my grandma and grandpa for 9 years for room and board, and he is the one who virtually hand-built this cabin.
So could these one-of-a-kind furniture pieces be worth a lot of money?
I'm guessing that because this is handmade, one-of-a-kind, and original, that it probably is somewhat valuable.
The Hastings would find that out later. But first, in an outbuilding, Paul made another exciting find.
In this shop was this incredible anvil, all of the tools and the leather apron that were used by Oliver LaJoy. It was really special to actually have my hands and my eyes on the tools that Oliver had used.
The most amazing pieces made by those tools are 16 doors that hang throughout the home. Each one is a work of art.
Oliver LaJoy would have done the woodwork and had taken an adze and chopped and scribed each of these panels on both sides times 6 doors, just hours and hours of labor, and came up with this just beautiful creative design.
Besides the woodwork, Oliver crafted all the metal work, like the hinges and poles. Nothing was manufactured, and there's nothing like them anywhere.
I've not seen this in any other building. I've never seen these doors with this treatment on them.
Does that mean they're valuable too? The Hastings can't wait to find out, and there was still more to explore. In the living room, Denise found a pair of 100-year-old mirrors that her grandfather got from a saloon.
I love them because they're so massive and they're beveled, and they're in these frames that were all hand-carved oak.
Denise thought she knew everything about her grandfather, especially since he lived to be 100. But once the couple moved into his old house, they learned he was an avid sportsman with an eye toward business.
he was so business-minded, he started his own company called John T. Little Sporting Good and Hardware.
When the Hastings moved in, people brought them original goods from the store, including a catalog, a set of 1920s hickory shaft golf clubs, and an early 1900s bamboo fly fishing rod and basket. But that's not all.
And one of the things he did was called the Sportsman Show. And back in 1920s through the 40s, thousands and thousands of people would come to pay a dime to go to this show that would last for weeks.
Denise's grandfather was a true entrepreneur. There was nothing ordinary about him, and nothing ordinary about Littlebrook Farm. He left behind a legacy. But with all the home's original furnishings, did he also leave behind a fortune? Denise and Paul are about to find out. Because we've invited appraiser Elise LeRae, former auctioneer at the famed Christie's Auction House, to check it all out.
Hi, Elise.
Hi, Elise. I'm Denise.
Hi, Denise.
Nice to meet
Hi,
you.
I'm Paul.
Do you mind if I look around?
No, come on in. That's wonderful.
Okay.
Will Oliver's handmade furniture mean they're sitting on a fortune?
Wow, this is a beautiful piece.
Will those giant mirrors reflect a high dollar value?
A little bit of condition problem right here.
Will their one-of-a-kind doors open up a one-of-a-kind price? They'll have to wait until Elise is done investigating to find out. When Denise and Paul Hastings bought an historic log home, it came filled with artwork and furniture that's nearly 100 years old. Are they sitting on a fortune? Our expert's about to drop by and tell them what it's worth. It was a dream come true for Denise and Paul Hastings when they moved into this 1935 Swedish-style log cabin that once belonged to Denise's grandfather. He built the place with the help of a local craftsman who hand-carved all the doors and also made custom furniture for the home. Denise was amazed to discover all the original furniture, mirrors, and doors were still there.
We couldn't believe our eyes. It was just unbelievable.
The couple thinks that all this custom craftsmanship could be worth a load of money, and they're about to find out.
Hi, Elise. Do you mind if I look around?
No, come on in. That's wonderful.
Okay.
Because we've invited appraiser Elise LeRae, former auctioneer at the famed Christie's Auction House, to take a look, starting with the fly fishing equipment from the home's past.
There's kind of a cult following for bamboo rods. The rod in itself is in nice condition. The tips are good. It's all in one piece. And you have some other fun things that go with the store.
But will it reel in a high price tag?
I would estimate the whole thing at $1,000.
Wow.
$1,000! Sounds like the Hastings got the catch of the day. Next, Elise checks out those giant living room mirrors.
The carvings are in great shape. The wood looks great.
Denise's grandfather got them from an old saloon. They're about 100 years old.
I like the fact that they're a pair. You don't really see pairs very often. And the size of them is quite extraordinary.
But will they shatter the price barrier?
If one was to go out and replace these mirrors and have someone hand carve them, I would say that they would have to pay at least $5,000 a mirror.
Wow.
They're really extraordinary.
Wow, that's 10,000 bucks! Now, Elise focuses on the home's handmade furniture.
Wow, this is a beautiful piece.
It was made by a local craftsman who helped build the house.
The original nails are still actually in here, which is really cool.
But will they nail down a high price?
What I like is that this room was designed to all go together, from the door and the work on the door behind me to the cast iron work on the table and on the buffet.
So is Elise gearing up for a big appraisal?
In the whole room, you're looking at $20,000.
$20,000! Not bad for an unknown craftsman. And he also hand-carved the 16 rustic doors throughout the house.
Oh, wow. Look at the cast ironwork. Oh, even in here, they match. Isn't that incredible?
Each one is completely unique.
The doors are my favorite part of your house. The cast iron work on all the doors also is something that really came to my attention, especially your front door. They almost look like conchos that would either be on a Native American piece or on a cowboy piece. Very indicative to that time period.
Now the Hastings are about to find out if those doors open up on a pile of cash.
So do you have any idea what the doors are worth?
I can't even really begin to guess. That's why you're here. I do not know.
If you had to replace all of these doors, I think you'd be looking at $80,000 to $100,000.
Oh my gosh.
100,000. That's amazing. And altogether, Elise has found $130,000 worth of fixtures and furnishings in the Hastings rustic home.
We're very, very shocked, obviously. We knew that the pieces in here were very, very valuable and very special, but that number really shocks me.
But the unique furniture and doors that are so much a part of the cabin aren't going anywhere. That's because the Hastings plan to keep everything about their family's home right where it is. You never know what you might find if walls could talk. I'm Mike Siegel. I'll see you next time.
Coming over, if the dog sees you, bark.
They thought they knew hit my elbow on that. You never know what you might find if Fine.